Before we get into the truck, we have some work to do. I want to make an early game tier list. Presentation mode's black, really? Oh, clean, right? Clean, that looks good. Izzy's gonna cook, say hi to Izzy. Wherever Geodude is, this is a Alolan Geodude, and then this is Galar Zigzagoon. So many people get stuck in early game. I would say 90% of runs die in early game before Norman. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna start by ranking the starters. All 3 starters are S tier. They each do different things. I think personally that Turtwig is the best. I'm gonna make my webcam a little bigger as well. I personally think Turtwig is the best. I don't think everybody shares that opinion, obviously, but I think it's the best. Each route? I can do each route. Yeah, we'll start with Little Root. Okay, so we'll start with Surskit then. Like, obviously S tier.
Yeah, boy.
Surskit, I mean, like, obviously, Masquerain is, like, just about the best Brawly Pokemon, if not one of them. I think putting Surskit anywhere lower than S is just kind of not right. After Brawly, it's amazing for... It's great for Roxanne, it's great for Watson, depending on your box. It's good for Norman. I thought about bringing it to Winona, too. I mean, it just holds up the whole game. It's a ×4 fighting resist. 90% of fighting type Pokemon are physical attackers anyway. With Intimidate is just so broken for the entire game. Masquerain's amazing. I think Temple's hard to rank, but definitely good. Seismitoad's great, because like the trade-off for Temple, right, is you don't get Surskit in Little Root, and obviously you pretty much always want Surskit in Little Root. Yeah, Stonked, I think you have to use context. So I think in the context of Little Root, well, you can get Surskit in Petalburg as well. And I think if you're going for Petalburg, it's because you want Surskit and didn't get it in Little Root. But with that said, I think Temple's really good. I'm gonna put him in A, but I might move him down to B. I think he'd be on the lower end of A. I might put him B. I'm gonna put him B for now. I'm gonna put him B for now. But he might move up. He's either top of B or low A, I think. Next is Lotad. I'm not gonna lie, I think Lotad's so underwhelming. I always delay this for Giga Drain. So I think in the context of early game, it's hard to say. Lotad is like super low B. But I think Ludicolo gets better the longer... Well, I think Ludicolo sounds great in mid-game. It's a good unique typing too. I have a hard time putting Lotad in C, but I can't see him higher than B. Finneon, definitely the first D tier. I forget where it is, where if you get Finneon, you can get like guaranteed Dragonite. Where is that again? 105? Okay, so you need Arrokuda, Lumineon, Barraskewda, and Bruxish. Anyone worse than Finneon? Probably. We'll figure that out. I mean, the thing that this is best at is doing 60% to Hitmontop and then dying. Lillipup is disgusting. I think it's better than Finneon. This thing is so bad. I could maybe see it low C. But like, dude, you gotta consider the mental repercussions that getting a Sandrush Lillipup does to you. I mean, I stopped. This is like the only mod I won't run, really. I think with Intimidate, I could see it low C. It's probably the worst Intimidate user, right? This should be F tier. It's so bad. Moving on to Bunnelby. I think Bunnelby is pretty solid, but it falls off mad hard. It's a combustion counter, which is important sometimes. I think if your Diggersby is bad enough, it's not. You come in on a T-Punch and you click Dig. It works like most of the time. I actually think it's like among one of the best Brawly brings in general. It encompasses the whole Game Boy Wonder, but I think putting an emphasis on early game is important. I think I'm gonna put it here. Like, it can be good for Watson. Yeah, Wacko, that's the right call, dude. Like, don't even check your ability. Don't catch it, move on. Because you're not gonna get Intimidate. It's not worth it. It's just not worth it. It will just destroy your mental. I brought Diggersby to Roxanne as well. Mostly as a pivot. I mean, it's a rock resist. It's good for Watson. I've used it to beat Magnezone, because obviously Custard Berry. Overall solid. All right, next let's do Baneri. Lopunny is super underwhelming in my opinion, until you get the Mega, which I have not used. But I know the Mega is super good. So I think it's hard to say. I mean, I know that Terra wants to bring this to the E4, so it's definitely a good mon. And I think once you get the Mega, it's just gotta be amazing. You get U-turn as well, yeah, which is great. I did that once. I think I'm gonna put it A for now. Honestly, if I got like a good Lopunny and got it into the late game, I maybe would change my mind. I could see it being S. Skitty is terrible. Don't let, like, bro, dude!
That you had.
It's like the most bait thing ever. Yeah, Caliuga. Well, dude, I'm sad Octillery's not in here because I piped the shit out of Octillery. Huh? Better than worse than Dog? Oh, dude, it's definitely worse is the thing. Like, as much as I hate to say it, it's definitely worse. It gets Fake Out, it gets Sing, which is unreliable. You get Wake Up Slap, which is fine. You're not bringing this to Brawly. You're not bringing this to Roxanne. You're not bringing this to Watson unless you have like nothing else. You're not bringing it to Norman. You're probably not bringing it out of box after that unless you're sacking it. We'll do Zigzagoon now. Dude, I actually just don't know how to feel about Zigzagoon after they nerfed Obstagoon. I think it's okay. It's a 50-50 ability mon, which kind of sucks. He really isn't the same. I'm probably gonna put it B below Diggersby. No, I think Obstagoon offers more than Diggersby long term. I think I'd put it here. I think Poochyana's underrated. It's fine. It's like pretty good. You can Intimidate. It's a dark type. It can beat. I've had Mightyena beat Slowbro, Shell Slowbro like more than once. Out of the 101 encounters, it's one of my favorite ones to get. Should I call Poochie a reset? Well, they're just delusional then. Poochyana's pretty good. It holds up early game really hard. I think it's solid. Intimidate's good. Obstagoon's definitely better long term, but I'd put it here actually. Starly is so weird in this game. When you get a Staraptor is fantastic, dude. But this thing is absolute garbage early game. It is so bad. But when I got it on like, I think it was 114, it was so good. Granted, it was adamant. But like, I don't know. It seems like it only gets better the longer the game goes on. And then probably falls off to a point. It's definitely better than these guys. We have to talk about Pidgey. Because Pidgey's bad, right? I haven't used Mega Pidgeot. Dude, I feel like every time I get Pidgey, it's not on the same level as these three. I don't know if it's good enough to be C tier. Like, I don't think it is. I don't have anything in C tier yet. If someone comes in, if someone's used Mega Pidgeot, tell me. I can see it being C tier. Give me your guys' opinion on Litleo and Pyroar. I think Litleo's like not good at all, but as a Pyroar, maybe it's good. Fast, hard-hitting flamethrower by Watson Split. I mean, that sounds pretty good. I'll put it C, because I don't, there's no way this thing's as bad as anything below it. I actually like Deerling. I haven't had it in a while. Deerling's great. Probably like the best Frillish counter. Not like that Frillish is like a huge thing, but it's nice. It's probably the most problematic mon in the entire museum, which is good. It's good, but it's like, it definitely falls off. I think it's like, it's like here. I honestly think Rapidash is like a solid mon. I think I'd probably put it right here. Like, Ponyta's not C. No way. It's like pretty good. And you don't really care about it dying. It's a fast fire type. I think it's fine. I literally just used Ponyta for the Roxanne's Bisharp, which was nice. Obviously, Growlithe, I have no clue how good normal Arcanine is. So we're gonna put this in the context of Hamilton, aka Hisui Arcanine, and say that this is definitely S tier. Hamilton's just amazing. Hisui Arcanine is just so good. There's no arguing it, really. Yeah, but like, the amount it does, split 3 through split 6, is unreal. It's probably above Surskit. And do you guys think I'm wrong when I say that Houndour is like a super IV dependent mon? Solid IVs in its important stats is fantastic. But if you have like not solid IVs, it's terrible. It feels so garbage. Dude, I think it's probably like right here, maybe. I think it's like pretty on par with Obstagoon. Fletchling, easy S, easy S. This Pokemon is so broken. Better than Hammy? I think so. But it's like really close. Good for Brawly. I brought it to Roxanne. It's like kind of coat, but I brought it. Dude, when I was prepping Winona in my last run, I was like, dude, if I had Talonflame, this shit's free. Mount Pyre, I was constantly like, God, I wish I had Talonflame. Better than Monkey? I actually do think so, yeah. I actually do think it is. Sizzlipede, great Pokemon. Realistically, just have to put it A. I mean, like, Centiskorch is so good. It's so good. I could maybe see it being a high B, though. It's like low A, if anything, but it's like really consistently good. Flamebot, I will, ooh. Honestly, I might put it B and switch Temple to A because it's 50-50 ability. But also, I might just do this because it's still good with White Smoke. It's just not nearly as good. Salandit, really good. Salandit's really good. This is like definitely A, probably here. Encore is really broken. I can see it being here. It's like really, really good. Salazzle's so good. And if you have like, if you're fast, if you don't have a minus speed nature or something, Encore's so broken. You can just come in on any fairy move in Encore. You can come in on any like poison fire move in Encore. I guess not gunk shots probably. Not any move. I don't know what Salazzle's special defense is. I know its defense is pretty bad though. Gossifleur is like an easy S, right? Like good for Brawly, good for Roxanne, good for Watson, good for Norman, good for Shell. Cotton Down's like probably the best ability in the game. Speed control is like the most important thing. Every single mon has a plus speed nature pretty much that you're playing against. It's probably like right here. It's just so good. Bounce Speed is like good, but getting it as, dude, not getting this in the forest feels like garbage if you don't have Turtwig. Getting it in Rust or in the forest feels way better. It's really solid on like the middle of early game. Exegcute. I actually really like Exegcute. I think Execute's great. It's good for Brawly. It can come to Roxanne 100%. Good for Watson. Probably good for Norman. I've never brought it to Norman. I'd probably put it like here or here. Probably here. Alolan Exeggutor is apparently great. That's what Safety was telling me. I've not used it though. Budew is fantastic. The only problem though is that it's a 50-50 Lilymon, and it's pretty IV dependent. I mean, if you have Poison Point on Budew, it's so good. If you get Technician Roserade, it's so good. Like, definitely, like, up here. But, like, the trade-off is you don't have that, and it's just, like, a Roserade. I think I'd rather have it than Sizzlipede. As far as, like, the 50-50 trade-off is better than Sizzlipede's 50-50 trade-off. C-Dot is absolute garbage. It's another example of, like, if you have the best starter, then it doesn't really matter that much if you get C-Dot. It can do some other stuff later. Does it beat Groudon? Probably, right? It's good for cycling around Rival. Moxie, didn't you bring this thing to Norman once? Honestly, dude, as much as I hate this thing, I might put it here. I don't think it's as bad as Pidgeot. It's just like, it's bulky, but it does like no damage. I mean, it's a good lead for Norman. Not doing anything against Brawly, probably. It's like, probably like great around here. I think that's pretty fair. I haven't used it in a while. I don't think Skrelp is good. Where is that guy? Skrelp is like definitely down here. Not good for Brawly, not good for Roxanne, not good for Watson. I don't think it's good for Norman. I don't imagine it does anything for Flannery. What does this do? At least Pidgey gets a Mega. Okay, here's what I'll say about Skrelp. Maybe, let's say, maybe Dragalge is like a pretty decent Mon, right? You don't get it till pretty late, but like, this is, if you're getting this as an early game encounter, you are not using this at any point until you evolve it, and even then, you're not using it for anything major, mostly. I haven't used a Chinchou in a long time, but it was good. Dude, Lantern's like a little underwhelming compared to like other games. There might be one other, but this is like the only Pokemon that gets an immunity ability, which is good on its own. I think Lantern holds up the entire game. Chinchou has a lot of use too. I think you're not gonna see it as often, so I'll put it like here. It's definitely really good though. Rookidee. It's so weird to rank this because it's amazing as Corviknight. I don't think I've ever had a run with a Rookidee get to a Corviknight. I always catch it as a Corviknight. I mean, it's still not bad as a Corvisquire, I guess. Like, it's a Brawly bring, potentially. Well, I had Corviknight and Roserade in a run, and I was using Roserade a lot. I think I put it here. Xatu, great for Brawly, falls off a cliff, a mountain after that, right? Sync value is great, though. I'd probably put it, like, here. Okay, Abra, I think is so overrated. I honestly want to put it, like, here, but, like, I had an Alakazam. It was just okay. It doesn't just beat the Kubfu, really. Like, you disable Sucker Punch, and then you're usually dead to rolls of, like, Mega Punch crit. Is that just me? Or, like, what? Am I like, smoking cock or something? Correct! Oh, Candy for Psybeam? I guess that's true, right? But I don't really want to do that. I could see it being above Serena. I have had a Pokemon on this list that I have brought to Brawly, and it beat Combuskin and Kubfu. Take a guess. No, wrong. Drowsy. Guess what I didn't have to use? A rare candy. Ralts. Ralts is like, it's gotta be just amazing, right? Like A, for sure. I mean, it's the only fairy type you can get. I mean, like, you can PP stall Mega Ampharos. Gardevoir's great. I mean, obviously, you're not really doing anything early game, though. Not a Ralts believer. I am. I don't know. If you get a Ralts or a Kirlia and evolve it into Gallade, what is wrong with you? Is an E4 Mon? I don't give a f. Look, Gallade is the ugliest Mon ever created. Not true. He's one of them. Where is he? This is automatic F tier. Why are you getting Psyduck? I love Psyduck. Why are you getting this? I looked this up one time because I was so curious on if Psyduck could do anything. If you get Psyduck, you have to use a rare candy on it if you want it for Roxanne. Isn't that so sad? Dude, it's so bad. What does it do? It gets disabled, but it's not even a Psychic type, so you're not even banning Sucker. It actually might be good, Terry. I actually have no idea. No, we'll put him there. I'm not gonna lie. Remoraid, if anybody puts Remoraid in F tier, they are just so, like, coping. There's no way you're using this ever. No, it's not, Stefan. This is, like, definitely C. Probably here. Probably here. I think these are definitely, like, a solid level above F tier, though. Octillery is pretty good for when it evolves, right? Like, it does solid damage, and it has, like, decent stats for when you have it. It's good for Roxanne, and you don't care about losing it. And a Sat can be really, really huge on Roxanne. I think Carvana is pretty decent. It's like pretty IV dependent though. I'd probably put it C tier. Mega Sharpedo is probably pretty good, right? It's probably like here. Raise Litleo, I don't know, but I do think I probably have Ponyta too high. Because I would 100% rather have Diggersby. I think I'll put it here. I might lower it to C though. I think Croakunk's pretty good. Fake Outmon, unique typing, gets Aura Sphere, which is cool. This is probably fantastic for that Cacturn in the desert, which by the way is a problem. That thing. I'd rather have it than Tentacool. I'd probably put it here. Shells is pretty good. It's not really doing anything for Brawly or Roxanne though, but it's like pretty solid. Every time I've had Gastrodon, it's not disappointed me. Probably here, I think. It's not bad. It's time! Big P! The moment everybody's been waiting for. What tier would you guys put Paris? Because I know exactly where he belongs. Yeah, I think C tier is pretty fair.
What?
F? No, he's not. He's not as bad as these guys. I think Pidgey could be C tier though. I think I'm gonna move Pidgey up. You can bring Paris the Brawly if you're super desperate, and Parasect's done wonders for me. Good for Roxanne, pretty good for Watson. I don't know if it's good for Norman. Like, I don't know, I don't think this can possibly be F. Obviously you never want it, right? You don't want this over like Beedrill or like Vivian. Every single one of these Pokemon is fine. I mean, Ekans, if you use a candy, again, if you use a candy on Brawly, it's fine, it's Intimidate. Can 1v1 the Hitmontop. Candy on Ekans evolvings. Okay, when I'm making this tier list, I'm not saying, yeah, if you get Ekans, it's a reset, right? Like, I'm not assuming these are just reset Pokemon no matter what. So if you're gonna get an Ekans, and that's your encounter on 104, and it's what you have for Brawly, you don't have a Surskit, you don't have all this shit. How am I gonna beat this Hitmontop? And then you look in your box and you see you have an Ekans. What are you gonna do? Oh, sure, you can reset and just start another run, but in that moment, what do? You evolve that Ekans, and you fight that Hitmontop. I think in the context of the game, Arbok has uses. Does this? I genuinely want to know. And I'm not arguing for these mons being good, I'm arguing for their uses and the fact that I don't think they're on the same tier as the other Pokemon. Anyway, rant over. Weedle. I mean, like, this thing is insanely good. It's obviously a payoff, but it's like really good. Beedrill's not amazing until you get Mega, but when you get a Mega, it is so good. It is so broken. I think this is one of the Pokemon in the game where like it's absolutely worth it to use 3 scales to change its nature. But when it comes to like early game, Beedrill's not really a mon to get you out of the early game super easy. But like it's just like the context of using Beedrill late game it's so insane. Scatterbug. Scatterbug's fantastic. I think it's easy A. Vivian is like, I will say the 50-50 ability thing kind of sucks and it feels like shit. I mean, Compoundized Vivian just has its way with Brawly. It's definitely A though. I cannot put an S with a 50-50 ability, there's no way. I'd probably put it here realistically. Okay, Blipbug is, dude, Blipbug is so cursed for me. Because every time I get a Blipbug, I've legitimately never had an Orbeetle. The run just gets super unlucky. I think I've gotten crit the most while having a Blipbug. Or, sorry, not crit the most, double crit the most. I can see it being right here, actually. It's, like, pretty good. It's good for Brawly. Gets light screens and stuff. I think Ekans is just, like, a solid C. I'd probably put him, like, right here. Actually, I think I'd like this. Dude, when I had Scolipede, it was putting in work. It doesn't really do a lot before it's a Scolipede, though. Poison Stab is, like, decently useful in this game. Bug Stab's decently useful. Somewhere around here, probably, like in the middle of B tier. This is ass. Combi is legit trash. This is, like, if you're getting a... It's not, like, complete garbage because it's, like, a fully evolved Pokemon for Brawly with a ×4 resist, but Combi is not good. This thing does nothing. The best thing that this does is give honey for Ursaluna, yeah. That's, like, the best thing it does. It doesn't do a ton for Brawly. It was really underwhelming on Roxanne Split, or not on Roxanne Split, on Shell Split and Watson Split. It didn't do a ton for Norman Split either. I think someone said it 1v1 Meloetta once, but that seemed pretty cope. I think this is an okay spot. Yanma's good. I think I'd put Yanma somewhere in A tier. Probably like a little bit above this. Protect, strong early, you can get it for Brawly. Although you use a scale, but it's usually worth it, I think. It's good for like so many double battles, just because like Protect plus that typing baits a lot of shit. I think it's just overall really good. It probably holds up for a while too. Ledima's a weird one because it's completely IV dependent. You get Encore. Ledian with like a really good speed stat is great because you get Encore and you have an immunity. So what I've noticed is Ledian's defense, I've used Ledian more than once. Ledian's defense sucks, so taking fighting moves is often like not great. Being able to Encore ground moves, is there a single other Pokemon in the game with a ground immunity that has Encore? I highly doubt it, right? Your ground immunity Encore mons are Ledian and Hawlucha. I think that's pretty great. Probably around here. I mean, Horsey's great. I think Horsey's like a solid A somewhere. Like, you're using this the entire game. It's like consistent the whole game, which I rate pretty highly. I guess the 50-50 ability kind of sucks on Kingdra. I don't know, Horsey's really good. Quad Resist has good bulk, can 1v1 certain Roxanne mons. I think Weasel's good. Floatzel's really good. Floatzel, if you use a candy, is great for Roxanne. You can bring Floatzel to Watson. It's pretty good for like a couple things. I don't know what it does on Norman. It's fantastic for Cycling Red Rival. And I think it only gets better the longer the game goes too. I think Weasel's A tier. I don't know. I think it would be like right here. Krabby's also really good. Okay, if your Krabby's good enough, you can use it for Brawly too. My Krabby one time beat the Combustion. It was pretty sick. With Intimidate pivot. It's kind of cope, because like obviously it can work up, but it worked. Sometimes on Brawly you gotta get desperate. I think Kingler is probably like right here. After the buffs, Clauncher is pretty sick. I mean, like, it's terrible as a Clauncher. It hits like a truck, dude. It's good for Cycling Red Rival. It gets Flip Turn, Dark Pulse, Dragon Pulse, Aura Sphere. It evolves earlier, sure. And you don't have to scale to get, like, Dark Pulse, Aura Sphere, Dragon Pulse. I honestly would rather have Clauncher than these guys. I think it's pretty safe in B. I might split B tier up at some point. Obviously, by the way, if you're fishing on 104, I don't know what you're doing. Where is Timber? Where would I put Timber? Girder's great. I think he's an A tier, but he's low A tier for sure. Conkeldur's good. Girder's good. It's a 50-50 ability. Sheer Force isn't bad, I guess. But I don't know. It's definitely not as good as Guts. I'd probably put it here. Maybe here. I hate getting Makuhita here. Because Makuhita and Dewford feels like absolute garbage, but getting it next to Rustboro feels great. But Hariyama's really solid. I think Hariyama's fantastic. Both abilities are good on it, too. I think that's fine. Maybe here, actually. I think they're both reasonable. I would much rather have Timber and Dewford over Makuhita and Dewford. Who's used Farfetch G? I've used it. It's bad. It's definitely really bad. Although, I know you get Protect, right? Or Detect or something. First impression's pretty lit. Knockoff. But I don't think there's no way it's an F tier. It's either like high C or low B. There's no way that this is the encounter you want from this table is the thing. I think you'd rather have this than big. I mean, Detect is so valuable. I think that's pretty fair. The funny thing about Mienfoo, the best Mienfoo I've ever had was Regenerator with like insane attack and insane speed. And coincidentally, that was the furthest Infernape run I've ever had. And I just barely used my Infernape because of my Mienfoo. It was really funny. With that said, like this is really, really good if it has like the right stats. That Mienshao is one of the best mons I've ever used in Run Bun. I miss it so much. Regenerator is insane. Inner Focus is also good, but like it's not what you want. It's like super IV dependent though. I don't know. Probably like here on average, but I think genuinely Mienfoo's like peak is so good. Honestly, I think it's just like I'd lump it in with these three. I'd be happy with any of these three. Actually, I would hate this from Buford. I have experience with Pancham. It's like okay, because it's not doing shit for Roxanne, but it's pretty good for Brawly. It's good for the Scraggy. And then as a Pangoro, it's like okay. It's like, it's fine, I guess. I think it's honestly like right above Farfetch'd. I don't think Pangoro does enough. Meditite feels like such complete garbage when you get it early game, but is Medicham doing anything until it's a Mega? It's probably better than Pancham long term. I mean, I think Stuffle in a, like, overall is probably the best Dewford encounter. Again, though, the issue with it is, like, if you don't have, like, Girder, Makuhita, or a Tyrogue for, I think I forgot to rank Tyrogue, oops, for Roxanne, then it can be really, really hard. Or Chimchar. But I think Stuffle is absolutely amazing. And once you get a Beware, it comes to legitimately, like, every fight. So I think it's S tier. I think Hitmontop is really good. Like, I don't really see how Hitmontop's not, like, an amazing mon. This is definitely, like, somewhere in A. And Hitmontop, I could definitely see Hitmontop being S, but I don't know if it's actually S. It's definitely so good. I mean, with Intimidate, it's also definitely really good. I think I'd reasonably put it here. It could be S, though. I mean, I don't know. If you're never upset with a Hitmontop is the thing. Who's used Hitmonchan a lot? I feel like I'm always getting Hitmonlee. I mean, it gets the punches. Isn't it like 50-50 Iron Fist? Dude, why can you get Inner Focus on this? Like, just give it Iron Fist. I think I'd probably rather have these. I don't think I ever really want Hitmonchan. Spiel's great. It gets Encore, which is good. It's 50-50 Thick Fat Oblivious, I believe. I think it gets Super Fang. It's a really good utility mon. And then it does like okay on its own after that as well. I can't see it being better than like Salandit with Encore. I'd probably put it here. No, I'd probably put it here. Dude, Shelter's so good. It's the Norman GOAT, by the way. This thing is so good for Norman. It just beats Diggersby most of the time if you're Shell Armor. I'd probably put this like, I think I like Roserade more. Actually, you should be higher. Shelter's so good. I prefer Shell Armor. I know Gian like swept Norman with Skill Link though. It's really good though. I wouldn't even put it above you. It's kind of hard to think that Starmie is just not that good. It probably is later. It's just like kind of underwhelming comparatively, it feels like. It can't be bad. There's no way it's bad. I think it's like probably here. Shooter's easy A. Shooter's so good. My last run I had a Dreadnought that was like not even Shell Armor and it came to fights for the entire game. It's definitely low A. Fanby's really good. I never get it, but I have had it before. Donphan's amazing. The worst part about Donphan is figuring out what moves you want on it. Because it gets so many good moves. It's Ice Shard, Rapid Spin, Knockoff, Charm, Bulldoze. You can keep it Rock Tomb. I would say it's definitely somewhere in A. I put it here. This is my Fanby placement. It's really good. Q-Fan. Bro, f this thing. Who was it that was saying I should need to put this in A? Honestly, Copperaja does stuff on Cycling Road. Like, I hate getting it because it doesn't take normal moves well at all. But like, as a Copperaja, it's actually pretty good. I'd probably rather have it than like these guys. I don't know. I'm not big on Houndoom, dude. I don't think he's that good. It just makes me mad because when you want a normal resist and you get Q-Fan, you feel like trash. I think Rhyhorn's great though. I'd probably put it in A tier. And I imagine Rhyperior is really, really good. And Rhydon's probably fine. He's bulky. Rhydon's probably good for Watson. Rhyhorn's great though. I bet it's fantastic as a Rhyperior. I don't know if there's anywhere else you can get Rhydon. No, there is. Meteor Falls, but Onyx is like just about the bulkiest mod you can get for that Lopunny. When I had it, it seemed genuinely really solid for Brawly. I imagine Steelix is great, but you don't get it for a long time, right? I don't think it's bad. I don't know. I'd probably just put it in B tier though. We'll put him here. That seems fair. I mean, I'd like to use him again one day. Dude, Aeron's so good. And then you get Aggron, and then you get Mega Aggron. I could see Aeron being S. It's either top of A or S, probably, right? I think it's probably better than Stuffle. It's not that good early. It's pretty good early. Time for resist normal moves. Normal stab is really scary early. Having something that can switch into normal moves and bait ground moves, fighting moves for free is really good. Like, even if Lairon is kind of underwhelming until you get Aggron, like, its typing just makes it useful. Togedemaru is like the best mod in the game. It does legitimately everything. Fake Out, Nuzzle, Eerie Impulse. Electric is kind of a niche in itself. Steel is a poison resist. Spiky Shield, U-Turn, Iron Barbs. It's just so good. Good on Brawly, good on Roxanne, good on Watson, good on Norman. I don't know if it's good on Flannery. I don't know. I've never used it for Flannery, I don't think. Probably good on Winona. It's good for Mount Pyre tag. Togedemaru is so good to the point where, like, optimally, you probably should route your run around getting it because you have multiple options to get it. Best mon on this list, probably. I was like surprised. I was pleasantly surprised by Sandile. It doesn't really do anything for Brawly. It's good for Roxanne. It makes some of the shell split trainers, like post Rusturf Tunnel, really easy. It's great. And then Crocodile is good. I will say that it might be because I had Excadrill, but Croc kind of fell off a little bit. I'd probably put it S, or not S, A. I don't think it's S though. I actually think Baneri might be too high, dude. I think I'd probably move Baneri down to like here. Alolan Geodude. I actually don't dislike this thing. I think it's pretty good. I mean, anything that Time for resists flying is nice. Flying is one of those resists that seems so useful. I'd probably put it like right here because I like Puchieno. I think this has more long-term value, but I still don't think it really pops off like super hard ever. Dwebble, I think Crustal's not great, and I haven't had a lot of Dwebble runs, like where Dwebble evolves into Crustal. I've had a couple, but it just like does really well into the Lopunny, right? Probably like, I think this is a pretty okay spot because Crustal does some things pretty well. It does pretty well into a lot of normal types just because it like, a lot of normal types have fighting coverage, and it's obviously doesn't take super effective damage like a lot of other rock types do. 50-50 ability is kind of annoying. It gets knockoff. Nosepass is, I think Probopass is the GOAT, but you don't get it for a long time, but you do get guaranteed Magnet Pull, right? I want to say Nosepass is like Dude, I just know Probopass goes so hard. I think I'd put him here. I think I'd rather have this than Geodude. Or you, really. I think he's actually pretty good. Moxie's high on Amora, I know that. I don't think it's bad. I mean, it's a Rotom. It beats Watson's Rotom. It doesn't get Ice Shard. It does get Charm and T-Wave and Icy Wind, though. It beats the Murkrow and Museum. It beats Pidgeot, which is pretty big. I think it's fine. I think it's probably in B tier as well. I can't see it being A tier, but I think it's pretty good. I like Sandshrew too. I think he's pretty similar. You get Ice Shard, you get Super Fang. It beats Zygarde, decent on Norman. I'd probably put it like, honestly here. I think it's like around there. There's not too much to say about it. You just get like Ice Stab, Steel Stab. Sneasel's a fun one because Sneasel's so good, but I think it's IV dependent. But at the end of the day, Weavile's amazing and it's worth using your scales on it. Weavile's like absolutely an E4mon. Good for Roxanne. Oh, they took away Ice Shard early, right? They nerfed it a little bit. Yeah, Ice Shard late. I mean, it's still good though. I'm just unsure if I want to put it S or A. Probably S. Probably like right here. There's one Mon in every early game encounter that I haven't used, and it's Snorunt. Although I know what it's capable of, I know it's a Zygarde counter. Other than that, I don't know. I think it's definitely in B. It's like one of the better CRR mods, 100%. You can PP stall the Indeedee, because if you're soundproof. The more I think about this, it seems really good. Like, it deals with some really crucial stuff that often is like box check worthy. Like, imagine you don't have a ground type for that Ampharos and you have this thing. It's like great. And it can beat the Lantern. I'm just gonna straight up put this in F tier, bro. There's no way. This thing is horrible. If you get a Snorunt, I am so sorry. I mean, you don't want Swine up here, really. But like, as a Mamoswine, it's pretty good. This is definitely something you want more in Rusturf Tunnel. It's okay that certain mons get delayed. I think this is good. Mamoswine's great. I would probably put it in A tier, I think. Probably not super high in A tier, but right around here is probably fair. Good, not amazing. There were certain things in my last run where I was like, man, if I had a Mamoswine, Bergmite. This thing is horrible. Bergmite does legitimately nothing. It's not F tier, there's no way. It's probably C tier, right? I cannot put it higher than this, realistically. I think these are the only 6 mons where I would like reset on, probably. But I don't reset on Skitty, and I should. Hatena's good. Wait, where? Oh, here. Like, Hatterene's great. Hatterene beats the Medicham, right? What do you guys think about like Hatterene compared to Ralts and Gardevoir? Is it good for cycling road rival? I haven't had this since like legit one of my first 10 runs. If Ralts is good, I think that this is good as well. I honestly might move Sizzlipede down. I'll keep him here for now, but I might move him down, maybe. Gligar is the best Hitmontop counter, just as like a standalone mon. And not having to bring more than one mon for the Hitmontop is awesome, because then you can bring more than one mon for like one of the other threats, right? I think that Gligar is pretty underwhelming on Shell and Watson split. And it's not amazing for Watson, despite being a ground type. And it doesn't do a lot until you evolve it. But Gliscor is obviously amazing. So I think Gligar is like amazing, one of the best encounters you can have for Brawly. Falls off super hard. And then when you get Gliscor, it picks back up and it's one of the better encounters in the game. But does that make it S tier? Is that enough to put it in S tier? Because it's definitely up here. I want to say yes if Stuffle is. I don't know. I think Gligar is S tier. Because Stuffle is like, doesn't really do much for Brawly. Maybe it can beat the Scraggy. Doesn't really do much for Roxanne. But then when it's a Beware, it's amazing. Gligar is like amazing for Brawly. Doesn't do much for the next 2 splits. Amazing as a Gliscor. I don't get Magnemite from here. Like, I've used Magnemite and Magneton in the game and they're fine. But like getting it from here, I mean, it's definitely like a good encounter. Like Magnemite gets Magnet Pull and Analytic. I mean, I guess this is a normal resist, technically. Magneton is a Cope Togedemaru counter. It's like decent for Norman, I guess. And then you get Magnet Pull, and then Magnezone is amazing. The thing about Magneton though is it kind of holds up as a Pokemon on its own. That 120 special attack is good, 95 defense is good. It's not like super slow either. Wait, is Magnemite not on here? Am I blind? Magnemite's not in here. I don't think it's like a good early game mon really, but it's like good throughout the game and it's fine. I'd probably put it like somewhere in here, like somewhere in low A tier probably. Funny thing, before they gave that Hitmontop Pursuit, Baltoy Loki went in. It resisted all of its moves besides Fake Out. With that said, it has Pursuit now. So I don't really think this does anything ever. I mean, like Claydol, when I had it, was like super whatever. But it's like, it's definitely not F. It definitely has uses. It's definitely somewhere in C tier. I'd probably put it right here, honestly. I don't think Drowsy's F tier at all. But like, I honestly think it's like probably around here. Like I said, I had a Drowsy once that wasn't like spectacular or anything. That took 2 against Brawly, which is pretty good. But I think that's probably its peak. I think Hypno maybe could be useful for something. If you have Drowsy, I think you're pretty likely bringing it to Brawly. Tortuga is like easy A tier. I think it's better than Krabby when it comes to Protect Mons. And it does a lot. It's great for Brawly. It can beat the Combuskin. It can take hits on Lopunny. It can Aqua Jet the Lopunny. It doesn't really do a lot for Roxanne or Watson. I guess it can be a pretty okay Delcatty answer if you don't have another normal resist. I don't think Tortuga's S tier though. I mean, let me think about this. I do think that this, like having this means you have a better chance for Dragonite, which is great. S for Sea Turtle. Well, you're right. Honestly, I think what I want to do is move Stuffle down and move Gligar down. And then put Tortuga right here. Because I think out of every Pokemon in S tier, I think these are all run-defining Mons. And I don't think Tortuga really is. Although I do think it's good and it comes to a lot of stuff, I don't think it's as run-defining as everything else in S tier. Corphish is like definitely A. I think it's better than Krabby though. Well, is it though? Yeah, I think it's better than Krabby. I'd probably put Bro right here. I think that's fair for Corphish. I mean, you get Protect, you get Knockoff, you get Aqua Jet, eventually Razor Shell. Candy, Crawdont for Roxanne, and it goes in. Peaks on Flan Split. What, Crawdont? I think it's hard for a Mon like Crawdont to peak, right? Just because it's always going to have use as a Protect Mon. Like, I don't know. It's kind of weird to say this Mon is a peak. Dynamo. It's not F tier, but like, I mean, getting this on that route feels like absolute garbage. Getting this on 110 feels less garbage, I guess, but it's not great. This is definitely C. I will say if there's one thing Electros pops off with, it's catching Pokemon. Super Fang, Thunder Wave, ooh. My goat. I actually think the only place I'd be okay with Eel is 110. I think he's here. He just doesn't really do it. He's like just average, underwhelming at like everything really. Quillfish is like an easy A. I think Quillfish definitely falls off a cliff after Norman. It's like kind of like Hitmonlee in that aspect. Overcool's good. It's solid. I mean, Poison Dark is a really good typing, and it feels like a pretty nice niche. Well, it's dupe value, plus it's great for Brawly. I brought it to Roxanne. I don't remember for what, but I definitely brought it once. Quillfish can like single-handedly get you through Brawly. I've used Luxio post-shell like once to charm the Kingdra on CRR, so I could beat it with Torterra. Completely falls off a cliff after a Watson split. After Shell, really. It's really nice for Brawly. It's really nice for Shell. There's no way I can put it in C when it like has those niche uses. It's like, I like having Luxio. I think I'd put it like right around here. No, I think it's probably around here with Mightyena. Mightyena like clutches up on a couple of like very niche Mons, and so does Luxio. Mareep, I think, has A tier value simply because of Mega Ampharos. I guess Fluffy can be a Poliwhirl answer. I think you're dodging crit though, right? It's been a long, dude, I never get this thing. I always get Luxio. I saw somebody use Ampharos for CRR. I think it was KTZ. Top of A, no, I'd put it in the middle probably. Or like mid-high. I think that's pretty reasonable. I think Yamper's in B tier somewhere. Although a good Yamper can just trivialize Brawly. This is probably the highest peak for Brawly, honestly, as far as one Mon goes. Because this can like, I've had Boltons take like 5 Mons on Brawly before, maybe 4. It's so good. But like, I think Bolton's fine. I think it's probably like here. No, pretty here. And then Electrike is our last Mon. I've seen people put this in F tier. There's no way, dude. How many fast electric types are in this game that you get before, like, well, I guess it doesn't matter where you get it, but like, Manectric's niche is nice. Honestly, I think it's B tier. It's a nice niche. I wrote this Mon off pretty hard. It's actually pretty decent. I don't think my Manectric was like, I think it was like pretty good, but not like amazing. It just like did exactly what you'd expect a Manectric to do, and like nothing more, nothing less. Mega Manectric, I didn't get to use, sadly. And you don't get it till Shoal Cave, like around Shoal Cave. Good special attack, good speed. That's like, this Mon does one thing, but it does that one thing pretty well. I'd probably put it here. And I think this is my tier list. There's a couple things. I think maybe I can put Sizzlipede in B tier. I don't think it belongs in A tier. But I do think it's great though. What do you guys think? I think it's pretty good. Yeah, say hi to YouTube. This is gonna be on YouTube in the next couple days probably. However long it takes Izzy. And then I'm probably gonna start working on the Watson split video as well. If anybody disagrees with anything, comment under the YouTube video. Follow me on Twitch.